are you?
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, Title Update 4 hit recently for Sunbreak, and of course with the new Title Update comes all kinds of wonderfulness, from new monsters to new mechanics, but one of the most fun things is always the equipment. Fun new skills can make or break the longevity of an update, and those are what will make you keep playing past the first night. And, well, this update had some pretty damn fine skills added to it if I say so myself. Of course, we got Frostcraft, which is incredible for the more draw-oriented weapons, but we also got a skill called Dragon Conversion, which turns your elemental resistances into elemental damage. I won't get into the specifics of that here, as we already have a full video explaining that skill on the channel and everything that it does, but today we will be playing around with that skill and showing you the absolute silliest results of this skill existing, and its name is, of course, Charge Blade. That's right, today we're going to be going over these suite of elemental builds that you need to hit absolutely ludicrous numbers with your files, able to easily reach 1,000 damage apiece, meaning every time you do an SAED that doesn't miss, you'll get an absolutely lovely 5,000 damage at minimum on anything with reasonable elemental weaknesses. Of course, this is a touch gimmicky as a build, but if it works, it works, and well, when you hit numbers like this consistently, it's impossible to say that it doesn't work. That said, we aren't purely relying on Dragon Conversion itself. We have in fact got quite a lot of synergy going on here that can get your build's element stat well over 220 on the status screen, which is what results in these silly shenanigans. So without further ado, it's time to present one of the most offensively effective things that I have ever encountered in Monster Hunter, the extremely super ultra megatron amped elemental discharge. First up then, let's talk about the weapons themselves. This is an elemental build at its core, and that means for each element you'll be using a different weapon. In order to know which one to bring to each hunt, simply pair it with the weakness of your target and you'll be fine. As for which ones are the best for each element, the best fire charge blade is the Raknakadaki tree, which is also the one that I'm using for the background footage today. For ice you'll want the Somnicanth charge blade, for water you'll want the Valtree charge blade, for thunder you want the Narwa charge blade, and then for dragon you want the Dragon Tree charge blade. All of these are the weapons capable of reaching the highest of their individual elemental value, while also using elemental files, which are the only two considerations for making mega ultra amp discharges happen. Raw, affinity, sharpness.
What a stupid concept.
And so that is our goal today. Absolutely maximum element with a few charge blade specific skills to make it easier to land your ultra amped element discharge consistently. As for the augments on your weapons, if the weapon naturally has a level 3 rampage slot, you want to give it max element augments and 1 attack upgrade. Otherwise you want to get that rampage slot upgrade augment to get it to 3, and then fill your remaining slots with element up. Your switch skills today are quite simple in general. Countermorph slash is fantastic, giving you some longer windows on your main guard points, which lets you get out a damage boosted version of your ultra amped element discharge. The other ones don't really matter much, except for your 4th slot, which must be counter peak performance, as this lets you have an extra counter at the cost of 1 wire bug that not only fills your files instantly if you time it right, but can also follow up directly into ultra amped element discharge itself. As far as the armor then goes for this build, it's exactly the same across all 5 elements, which makes this much easier to talk about than most elemental builds. It's risen Velstrax head, chest, and waist, and then the Geismagorm arms and legs. For your talisman, the way that we've designed this build, literally anything that has tons of decoration slots will do. Mine here is a 3 slot, a 2 slot, and a 1 slot, with some really just unimportant skills on it other than that. If you have a talisman that has those slots and also has relevant skills, then your build will be even better than mine is. Your decorations that you want to slot into all of this are a magazine plus jewel, 1 hard blaze jewel, 1 tiny blaze jewel, 1 element exploit plus jewel, and a regular element exploit jewel, 1 quick switch plus jewel and a regular quick switch jewel, 2 iron wall plus jewels and 1 small iron wall jewel, 1 wire bug jewel, 1 chain jewel, 2 flame scale jewels for the fire set, or 2 iron shell jewels for the water and ice set. And then if you have 2 1 slots remaining, these are best served for Intrepid Heart, as getting a free ultra amped element discharge off even once per hunt is a pretty big gain, and any slots past that should go to more elemental resistances of any kind. As far as your armor augmenting goes, you have some very specific skills to aim for, with the mention that any positive element resistance rolls are also essentially just a pure damage gain within this build due to the Dragon Conversion skill. The specific skills that you are after are Strife, all 3 levels of it, as if you have level 3 Strife you get 10% boosted element for having even a sliver of red health in your bar, and even more if you manage to get half your health bar in the red, and at all times you will at least have that little bit of red health as we are running Dereliction in the build, which constantly reduces your health in exchange for a healthy boost to your element stat. Yes, some people don't like Dereliction, but that is all just sort of required to make this function the way that it does, so if you want to give this build a go, then you sort of have to deal with it. I always recommend the Gourmet Fish item for Dereliction builds as it does help offset the health drain for a bit after you eat one. Your other Curio Augment skill is Furious. You're looking for 2 levels of this between your remaining 2 armor pieces, and the specific reason is because while on Red Scroll, level 2 of the Furious skill gives you plus 10 to all elemental resistances, and having done some extensive testing, this does in fact get converted by Dragon Conversion, so it's a lovely little combo. With that all covered then, here is your full list of skills within the build: 5 Guard, 5 Fire Attack, 3 Element Exploit, 3 Attack Boost, 3 Stamina Surge, 3 Dragon Resistance, 3 Rapid Morph, 3 Dereliction, 3 Dragon Conversion, 3 Strife, 2 Resentment, 2 Latent Power, 2 Load Shells, 2 Bubbly Dance is just a random thing from my talisman, 2 Teostra Blessing, 2 Furious, 2 Intrepid Heart, 1 Flinch Free again from my talisman, 1 Wirebug Whisperer, and 1 Burst, as well as using the Elembane Rampage decoration. The weapon slots are a bit different for each of the weapons, so you'll want to swap out to the Kushala Blessing decorations on the Ice and Water build obviously, and there's no equivalent to that where you can put in for the Dragon and Thunder builds as they haven't made a decoration for that skill yet, so those builds are just a touch weaker. Essentially, all of your builds will have the main skills that we've shown here at minimum, and if they have any extra space even past that, you just want to stick in more elemental resistances, as again, this build that just sort of translates to damage. Before we dive into the math of this then, it's worth mentioning that Dragon Conversion has a little bonus effect that we won't actually be using. When in Blue Scroll you get plus 10 to all resistances, just as a default, but if you continuously hit the monster without stopping, you will get an extra 5 to all resistances. The number of hits is different for each weapon, but for Charge Blade it's about 33 from my testing, and well, you just won't hit a monster 33 times in a row before you have to reset in some way, and even if you do, the time that this takes isn't really worth what will eventually equate to being 5 element, as 10 to all element resistances once converted is just 5 element. So with that considered, at the start of a quest, just swap to Blue Scroll quick, and then immediately back to Red Scroll and you'll have the maximum feasible bonus from Dragon Conversion active. So then, let's just dive into that math.
Whoa, math!
And we'll be using the Fire build as an example, as that's the one that you're watching. As far as raw damage goes, we have 315 raw attack on the weapon, plus 9 for attack boost 3, plus 10 for resentment, which is always active due to dereliction, plus 5 for chain crits initial bonus, which is what we are playing around having. Then we multiply by 1.39 for our purple sharpness, then 1.1 for 40% affinity with no crit boost for a final total effective raw of 518.3, which is incredibly low, but not at all the point of the build that we are playing here. If we then go to elemental damage, we have 99 base on the weapon itself, plus 4 for fire attack 5, plus 20 for dereliction 3, plus 5 for burst. Then we come to Dragon Conversion. In my set right now, my total resistances in Blue Scroll are 88, add on to that 43 that you can get from eating for 3 different elemental resistance dongos, which you should always do with this build, then also plus 50 that is converted from Furious when in Red Scroll, and you have a total of 181 of your elemental resists when added together, and then you divide that by 5 to see that the element added onto your weapon will be 36 when you switch to Red Scroll. Then we have our lovely multipliers on top of that, first times 1.2 for fire attack, times 1.15 for the Elembane decoration, times 1.15 for element exploit 3, times 1.1 for strife 3 with even a little bit of red health, times 1.1 for Teostra Blessing 2, and that makes our total file effective element come out at 314.9, which is absolutely insane. If you want to know the element for our weapon hit specifically, this also has a 1.25 multiplier from our purple sharpness for a total of 393.6, and that math is exactly why this build is as good as it is. The whole playstyle philosophy is to barely attack ever outside of windows where you can just get in a solid counter here or there, and then an ultra amped element discharge for thousands and thousands of damage in seconds. And if they hit the right parts of the body the right way, you can even kill endgame monsters in just a handful of discharges. There really isn't much to this, it just sort of works beautifully as it is. So So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed seeing not only the ridiculous numbers on screen, but also all of the explanation behind it of what makes it hit so high, and of course a step-by-step guide on how you can hit the same numbers with your Charge Blade build. Let us know what other weapons that you'd like to see get updated builds for Title Update 4, and we'll try to get them out to you in the future. Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.